The wind whispers across the Great Plains in North America. Golden grass sways under an endless blue sky. The land feels empty until you look closer. A flicker of movement and a tiny head pops up. A small shape stands tall, black-tipped tail quivering. Meet the black-tailed prairie dog, a creature no bigger than a loaf of bread, yet the builder of entire underground kingdoms. Long before highways and cities, this land was alive with their voices. Billions of prairie dogs once ruled these plains. Their towns stretched for hundreds of miles, vast underground cities carved by tiny paws. Imagine miles of tunnels, crisscrossing like veins under the earth, connecting families in a living network. Each burrow had a nursery for newborns, a sleeping chamber, a storage pantry, and even an air vent for fresh breeze. This wasn't just survival. This was civilization, hidden beneath our feet. Every dawn begins the same way. A watchman emerges from a burrow, scanning the horizon. The prairie is quiet, too quiet. A hawk glides silently above, eyes locked on the colony. The watchman lets out a sharp series of barks, a warning passed from one dog to the next. In seconds, hundreds know the message. Not just danger, but what kind of danger? Hawk from above. If it were a coyote, the pitch and rhythm would change. If a human, they'd call differently still. Scientists discovered that prairie dogs can describe size, shape, even the color of what's coming. It's one of the most advanced animal languages on Earth, and it keeps them alive, day after day. When the sky clears, the colony bursts back to life. Adults nibble on grasses and roots, trimming the prairie like careful gardeners. Pups tumble from burrows, learning the sounds and rhythms of their world. They chirp, bark, and squeak, testing their tiny voices, mimicking their parents. The air hums with activity, with communication, with community. But it's not all peace in the prairie. Each family claims a small patch of land, their territory, their home, and they defend it fiercely. If a stranger crosses the invisible border, a chase begins, dust flying, tails twitching. After a brief scuffle, order is restored. Everyone knows their place again. Even in this small world, there is law, there is order, and there is loyalty. As the sun sets, shadows stretch long across the plains. The prairie dogs retreat underground. Down here, it's cool, quiet, and safe. Mothers nurse their young, fathers rest beside them. Outside, the stars shimmer over an ocean of grass, a silent world that owes its life to these tiny diggers. For centuries, the prairie dog was the heartbeat of the American plains. Where they dug, water flowed more easily into the soil. Their tunnels became homes for owls, ferrets, snakes, and insects. Their grazing helped new grasses sprout, feeding bison and pronghorns. The entire prairie ecosystem revolved around them. They weren't pests. They were engineers, caretakers, stewards of the land. But their story took a dark turn. As humans expanded westward, millions of acres of prairie disappeared. Farmers saw prairie dogs as competition for crops. They were poisoned, trapped, and shot by the millions. From billions, only a fraction survived. Entire colonies vanished. The land grew quieter, emptier, and with their disappearance, the plains began to change. Soil hardened. Other animals lost their homes. The delicate balance they once maintained began to crumble, and yet, the prairie dog endures. In national parks, grasslands, and protected reserves, they are rebuilding their towns once more. Pups are born again in deep burrows. The chatter of their voices rises like music from the earth. Scientists, conservationists, and local communities are working together to protect what's left, not just for the prairie dogs, but for every living thing that depends on them. Their story is one of resilience. No matter how many times their homes are destroyed, they dig again. They rebuild again, they adapt. Because survival, for the black-tailed prairie dog, is not just instinct, it's heritage. So the next time you drive across the open prairie and think it looks empty, stop, listen. Beneath your feet, a hidden city may be alive, filled with voices, families, and stories centuries old. The prairie dog's bark is more than a sound. It's a message of hope. A reminder that even the smallest creature can leave the biggest mark, and that the heart of the plains still beats, one tiny bark at a time.